Hello and welcome to another Innovation Coffee brought to you by ARM. I'm your host, Robert Wolf. And as you know, we go live here on the ARM Software Developers YouTube channel each week at 5 p.m. UTC. With the help of some amazing people behind the scenes, thanks, Rachel, and the support of our partners and amazing community members, we are able to bring new and exciting topics forward in an interactive and engaging way right here on YouTube. We encourage everyone to brew your favorite cup of coffee. I got mine right here. Let's take a sip here real quick. And or tea, and come hang out with us every week. Of course, if you enjoy the videos, we do like it when you subscribe to our channel. So after here, go over to the ARM Software Developers YouTube channel and please do subscribe. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit different, right? So we usually bring on a guest. Hello, David. We usually bring on a guest and we just talk for a whole bunch of time. This week, we're going to split this into two sections this time. So in the first section, we're going to be meeting with Arthur Petitpierre, EC2 Graviton Senior Specialist Solutions Architect at AWS, also known as Amazon Web Services. And in the second section, we're joined by Kitty Yeung. So in the second section, Kitty Yeung is going to be joining us. Artist, musician, fashion designer, physicist, amazing applied physicist, and of course, can't forget to mention ARM Innovator. So she'll be joining us to talk to us about a whole bunch of cool stuff, as well as a nice announcement on her behalf for a Kickstarter that she launched, and I'm very excited to hear about that. Now, as you know, before we dive into the episode, I do have a quick recap of last week, and we're going to share that link in the channel and maybe pop it up right below me here. Last week, we met with Stephanie, previously known as Stephanie Explains It All. Gosh, was that a lot of fun. We got to talk to her about all sorts of cool stuff, going from corporate developer to full-time maker and creator. She makes really fun, engaging and technical YouTube videos. She also has a nice presence on Instagram and does live streams every week on Friday. Definitely encourage you all to go check her out. I believe her handle across the board is Stephanie GG. So ESTEFANNIEGG. So go check that out. And if you have an extra hour in your week, please do check out the stream we did last week as well. Okay, great. So now I would like to bring in Arthur Petitpierre, who has a very cool announcement for us. So Arthur, let's bring you in here. How you doing, Arthur? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Well, you got my name right.
Petitpierre, yeah.
Amazing.
I try. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We're very happy to have you here. And before we kind of talk about this announcement, because I know this just happened today, it's very exciting. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at AWS, before you tell us about this new announcement?
Sure. So I'm Arthur Petitpierre. I'm a architect at AWS, and I'm a specialist SA, which means that I'm focusing on kind of a narrow subject, and for me, that narrow subject, we have specialists in many different areas. And for me, the focus point is our Graviton processor and all the instances that we offer to customers that are using the Graviton processor, which is the latest generation of AWS home design processors using the ARM64 architecture.
That is awesome. So you're the person to talk to for all the Graviton 2 stuff. That means that if you have questions about Graviton 2, now's your chance to put them in the chat and maybe Arthur could answer something.
Sure.
More specifically, though, you're here to talk to us about a challenge that was recently announced. I saw it on the AWS Cloud at AWS Cloud on Twitter. Could you tell us a little bit more about this challenge? I mean, you have some developers here watching that might be interested in it.
Sure.
What's got going on?
Yeah. So actually what happened is that during the last, a little bit more than 18 months now, we've migrated a huge number of customers to Graviton-based instances. And while doing that, we realized that sometimes customers do need a little bit of guidance to move from one architecture to another. So things like where to start, what could be the plan, or I'm a developer and I want to have somehow something well guided that I can present to my manager and explain why I'm going to spend some time taking an application and moving that over to Graviton. And that's exactly what we wanted to address with the Graviton challenge. So we wrote a white paper with a 4-step, pretty well guided plan that you can follow to take an existing workload and migrate that over to Graviton and benefit from the better price performance that we offer with those processors.
I think that is awesome. And yes, I can definitely resonate everything. I want to echo all the stuff that you said. I have heard developers basically say the things that you just said right now. And so I guess let's focus on what these developers might ask you about this challenge. What is the theme? You kind of touched on that, porting workloads from anything else over to these Graviton 2 instances. But who might qualify for this? Can anyone just go sign up to this challenge and participate?
Anyone can go sign up, participate, take an existing workload, migrate that over to Graviton. If you do it, and if you tell us about what you've done, you can win swag. You can also, once you've done a migration, you can tell us more about the use case that you've been migrating over to Graviton, and you can enter a contest to win some amazing prizes. You can win a huge amount of EC2 credits. You can win the ability to join reInvent 2021 and have a dinner with some folks from our leadership team. And you can even win for the best use case that we will select. You can win the ability to go on stage at reInvent and talk about your use case and become the Graviton rock star.
Oh, I think there's some people out there that would want that. I could also picture some people out there not wanting to go up on a stage in front of thousands of people. That's really cool. I actually, you bring up reInvent. Is that in person this year? I mean, with the whole stuff that's on.
Yeah, definitely. So reInvent is in person this year. We will have, as we do usually, lots of sessions, lots of workshops. I definitely hope that we will have a Graviton workshop. So there's going to be the ability to do lots of things around the ARM64 architecture. Our team is going to be there. You will have the ability to meet with us. And for the ones who do not want to join, we will stream most of the sessions so that even remote people can benefit from reInvent this year.
I've wanted to go to one of those for so long, and I never had the chance to. And this year, I'm really hoping I do get the chance to go. It is, from what I've heard, one of the best events of the year. Like,
okay, I mean, so now you know how to do it. Just take one of your existing. Well, maybe everything you have already runs on ARM. So
probably. Yeah. Cool. So Arthur, I think the last question I have here for you, you've touched on the prizes, who qualifies, what the challenge is all about. I think that this is amazing. What are some ideas that you can maybe throw out there? Just give like a one-way brainstorm session with our viewers and any developers out there. Some ideas, use cases that you think might be interesting to see happen.
Maybe I'm going to start with the ideas that are not going to allow you to win the prize. There are things that are really easy with Graviton, which is adopting any of our managed services. Everything that runs on things that we operate for you, like Elasticsearch, that kind of stuff, RDS that runs on Graviton, those things are super easy to migrate. You can just switch the instance types to Graviton-based instances, and you're gonna get the benefit from those. So that's too easy for the challenge. Do not enter the context with those. Definitely use them because they're going to be more cost-effective and more performant, but they're not the way to win the prize. If you have anything that is running on EC2 or on any kind of server outside at another cloud vendor, on-prem, anything, that's a good candidate to migrate to Graviton. And the more innovative the use case, the more cost-effective the use case, that's a good way and a good opportunity to migrate over to Graviton and win one of the prizes. And we do have prizes with different categories, the most innovative use case, the most cost-effective use case. So take the challenge. You will see, I'm sure you will find a workload that's going to be a good fit for the challenge.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I want to be conscious of time, maybe a couple more minutes here. We did get one question in the chat. Maybe you can answer this one. If you can't, that's fine. But do you know if people under 18 are able to join this challenge? This is from one of our he's a super community person here.
That's an excellent question. I would personally love under 18 folks to join the challenge, but honestly, I have no clue.
Okay.
You can give it a try and ask us the question on the Slack channel. We have a Slack channel where we are going to support all the people taking the challenge. So join, and I'm going to be on that channel, ask the question, and I'll do my best to get the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And Arjit, we'll make sure also that we provide as many resources for everything we've talked about here in the description of this video once it goes on demand. So if you have trouble finding that Slack channel, this link right here will be in the description, and I'm sure we'll find a way to get you into that Slack through there. Cool. All right. Well, Arthur, gosh, it's a pleasure. This is the first time we've met face to face. I know we've had some chats together, but it's a pleasure having you on the stream. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. And super happy to come back. If there's any Graviton related subject that you want to cover, let's do it.
We will definitely be taking you up on that. We're going to bring you in for a full tech session on Graviton too. So yes, thank you so much. All right, Arthur. Well, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice day, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Okay. That was cool. We got to hear this is like a fresh, right off the press announcement from Arthur of AWS. Again, go check out that site we shared. But now we're going to move on to the main segment here with Kitty Yeung, one of our ARM innovators. And I'm going to go through again this list of titles that she has: physicist, applied physicist. She's an artist. She's a musician, fashion designer, and of course, as I said, ARM innovator. So let's bring Kitty onto the call here. Kitty, are you ready? We have her in the green room. There she is. All right, cool. Hi, Kitty. Welcome to Innovation Coffee. Did you have a chance to brew a cup of anything?
I have a cup of water, my favorite beverage.
Cheers, cheers. Yeah, no, it's the best beverage. Oh, nice. Cool. Well, Kitty, first off, I just want to thank you so much for taking your time to come spend it with us here. We got people saying hi in the chat. Yeah. So looking forward to hearing about this cool announcement that you have coming up about your Kickstarter announcement. But before we do that, we'd like to kind of get to know our guests a little more. And this is for people who maybe don't know you, right? So could you provide us with your origin story? You know, who is Kitty? What do you do? You know, where do you come from? What do you enjoy? Tell us everything.
Yeah, thank you.
2 minutes.
So
no.
Yeah. Not my whole life story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. And it's been a pleasure. My name is Kitty Yeung, and I am a physicist, as Robert mentioned. So I actually got my PhD from Harvard in applied physics, and also did physics, natural sciences in Cambridge University. And after graduation, I was working at Intel, and then now I'm working in Microsoft. My day job is in quantum computing, and I'm very proud to be part of the leading people developing the quantum computing effort for our world. And I love art very, very much. So I've been doing art on the side. As Robert mentioned, I design fashion. I have a fashion brand called Art by Physicist. So from the name, you can tell that is a combination of science, technology, art, and design. So I love painting, and all of the clothing that I design on my paintings on the fabrics.
Got to bring myself off mute. I lost my mouse cursor there. So Kitty, I think that's super cool. I don't think we're ever going to have someone with that starts the show off or their introduction by saying, I have a PhD in applied physics, and that my day job is working with quantum computing. Like I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to do that again. So yes, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Now, before we dive into this main segment, I want to do one more thing here. We have an icebreaker round because it's very rare that we have also someone with so many cool things on their desk and with the camera so far back that we can see everything on your desk. So let's move into a segment that we call the Innovation Coffee Cribs.
Oh. So
That's my
cool.
fault. That's my fault, Rachel. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. So Innovation Coffee Cribs is a segment where we explore the cool things that you have on your desk. Anything that you want to share with us or share with our viewers, because I can see some really cool things there. What do you got?
Yeah, so much stuff. You can obviously see the sewing machines. This one is for general sewing. This is a serger, which is very, very useful for locking your edges. And of course, I always have some boards on my desk. This is the Microbit V2, which is ARM-based. And I made like a tea cozy with this thing. And I also got this from PCBWay. They sent me a bunch of Raspberry Pi Pico. And of course, I have a lot of sewing stuff and demos for my Kickstarter. And this in particular is a new product that I can talk about in more detail later. But these are a pair of Bluetooth connected brooches that can allow you to connect with your family and friends. So many fun things on my desk, I guess.
That's cool. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it again, Rachel. I'm so bad. So sorry. Here we go. Okay, so that's awesome, Kitty. I was telling you earlier while we were in the green room, like I'm gonna have to show this to my wife. She's really getting into sewing. I see that sewing kit. I think it's your right or your left. I can't tell because things get flipped around here. The big one with all the spools.
Serger,
Yeah.
Serger.
What is that?
Serger is a overlocker. So you want to sew nice edges. When you cut the fabric, they may go frail. So you use this thing. It has 4 strings, so it will lock the edges of your fabric.
Wow, I couldn't imagine if something like that got all tangled up.
Yeah, you need to get used to how it works. At the very first time also, you may always need to fix it, but then after a while, it'll be fine.
Nice. Cool. So Kitty, you have something important to tell us today because you just launched something on Kickstarter. So I think now is a better time than ever to talk about that. What you got going on Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I just launched my fashion brand new tech fashion collections on Kickstarter. So if you want to go to that link, or we have a screen shared here, I can walk you through. So I've been developing this brand for a couple of years. We just launched like a little bit more than an hour ago. And super exciting, first time doing Kickstarter, and we have a lot of exciting new designs. So as I mentioned, all of the clothing are my own paintings on them, and I also add technologies that go with the design. So I'm actually wearing this. It's got this solar panel that's in the shape of a lotus, 2 lotuses that you can use to charge your phone or charge any electronic devices on the go. So the key here is that it's not just technology or very plain design, is integrated design. And this is like a heated reversible coat. These are the perennials that I drew on the fabrics, and I'm embedding the Lumia heater inside. Very, very soft and flexible. You can heat up your coat. So for a lot of girls, I really hate winter. I don't like to wear a lot of clothes. So having something like this, you can wear just a thin coat and stay warm, and very convenient. So this is actually a stretch goal. I have this here.
So the Lotus solar panel is the goal, and then this coat, the heated coat, is the stretch goal.
Yeah, that's pretty much. We also have additional rewards in addition to the 2. So the Lotus is a collaboration with a German company called Armor. They make these very, very beautiful, interesting, arbitrary shaped solar panels. So here is a very early prototype that we did, which is just plain black coats, but we put several hexagonal solar panels on to test it, and you can connect it to USB charging. device. And now we use these lotuses that match with the design.
So I'm curious. I'm curious here. You know, I mean, I've built a lot of solar stuff in my past. In fact, I have a solar kit here. Maybe you saw it at one of the ARM Tech Cons several years ago when I was in ARM Innovator. But where's all the components here? Because a solar panel usually needs to connect into a charge controller, and then the charge controller would need to connect, if it doesn't already have a USB port on it, into your output to then charge the device. Or did you just match so perfectly the solar panels to the 5-volt 2 amp, 5-volt 1.2 amp or whatever output of a phone?
We do have a controller, but it's very small and it's hidden. So for tech fashion, it's all about how do you hide your wires and controllers very cleverly. So we put the wire inside the clothes, so you don't see anything on the outside or even the inner lining. So in between, you sandwich that, and then you have a pocket that you can put the wire out. Does this also store energy? So I mean, like, is it connected to a battery as well? So is the charge controller feeding a battery and then the battery is feeding your phone? No, or are you giving away trade secrets? Sorry. No, you could. So the idea is that you don't want to use this to charge your phone when it's completely out of battery. So you want to plug it in on the go. And it can charge based on the lighting you have. And you could also plug your just normal phone charger in there to store the energy. So it itself doesn't, otherwise it gets bulky. It itself doesn't store, but you could add a battery there to store it and use it later. And,
okay, cool. And I'm going to need to see more. I do want to see more. I have one more question though. So, I'm going to definitely need to go check these out. I'm looking here. It says pledge 25. So you get the broches, the Bluetooth broches for pledging 25. I'll go check this out, but I'm curious. So these lotuses, is this just the lotuses, and then the lotuses go on whatever clothing I want? Like, could I add lotuses to my shirt, or is this the whole outfit?
You mean, do we sell just the lotuses, or do we sell? No, we are not selling the components, because you need to laminate it. So there's a process. You need to laminate it onto fabric, but it's very simple and is very convenient to laminate onto all kinds of fabrics. So because it goes so well with this design, we are making the complete outfit.
Perfect. Cool. All right. Yes. No. Let's see some more. Sorry for. I just have. So this is so cool. I have so many questions.
Yeah, I have a lot of demos. So I guess a few years ago, I think last time we met at ARM Innovator Summit was maybe 2 years ago. Most of my stuff were handmade, and I made one of each of them by hand sewn, and is not really product. It's good for demos, but then I spent some time to really develop these products, so to make them available for people, and it's more accessible, and make them really daily wear products, so you can wear whenever. This is a dress that uses a LED panel at the bottom. So itself is a painting of the Earth in the universe, but I don't know if you can see it under my lighting here. You can program it to display any kind of images from your phone. So I actually hand drew the gifts that's being displayed on the dress right now.
Yeah, so I can't see. I don't think I can see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe it's just too bright in there.
Yeah, I have really bright camera photography light.
It's okay. We're used to the demo gods cursing us on this stream as your light falls.
So yeah, you can see this.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see it now. Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Going around the Earth.
Oh wow. Wow, that's so cool. So that's a really big. That's a lot of LEDs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A pretty large panel, and it's slightly flexible. And the place is basically below your knee, so you don't actually feel uncomfortable wearing it.
Oh, now you can see like a star on the horizon.
Yeah, and I hand drew all of these.
So you hand drew all those, and then you hand drew them all, and then of course it was adapted onto the LEDs. Oh, you hand drew that little kitty too, little dancing cat.
That one is
Okay.
from yeah, this one is my customized one. So,
Okay, cool.
so anyone can do your customized images. So it comes with the LED panel and an app for your phone, so you can write or draw anything on the go and upload it through Wi-Fi instantly.
That's awesome. I actually have one of these little things here I bought for fun. You can kind of do the same thing with this little LED. I mean, this is pretty, you can also program it on your phone and draw it and stuff and make it do things. But yeah,
so this one's huge.
That's huge, and that's awesome, and it's on your clothes, so it's way cooler.
Yeah, and you were asking about the flowers brooches.
Yes.
So these are collaboration I did with DF Robot. It's a pair of flowers that you can, of course, this is the right audience. You can program to do anything, right? So when it's preset is using the distance sensing. It's got vibration, it's got touch sensing, LEDs, and accelerometer. So right now, if a mother and her child are wearing this, if the child, for some reason, gets separated like 2 meters away, then the mothers will start to vibrate. And only she can feel it. She knows that the kid is running off or taken, and she will start looking for the kid. So that's my example scenario, and it was inspired by my own personal experience, almost getting lost from my mom. So this, it has a lot of my background stories and wanting to help people, and also making it really pretty and fun. So it's also
I feel like every mom should want one of those.
Well, not just even mom.
Every parent.
Yeah. So actually, I got people buying this, telling me that they their daughters really love this. So they actually want to learn how to program with these things, because everything is integrated onto it. And it's so convenient. You just plug it in. It's open source. We have a wiki to teach people how to code. So people can use this to do a lot of interesting things.
David, I Shot JR is saying that he
David
has a pair of these, and then David T is saying, "Whoa, cool."
So think about what you might use this for. Alex Blow also has a pair, and she said these are perfect for her wearable ideas. And she hasn't released what idea that is, but she said it's perfect. So I'm looking forward to see what she programmed these for.
My wife always calls me kind of like a little kid, especially when we go out. Like I just wander off, and so I'm gonna maybe get a pair of those for her and I, so that she doesn't lose me, or I don't get lost.
I do have a demo that me and my husband are wearing these.
Oh, nice.
So you could keep this, use this for other family and friendly interactions.
Very nice, very nice. So, Kitty, are there more? I feel like you have more.
Yeah, I do have more. I can show you the Kickstarter page again. So okay. I actually have these flexible flexible LED electronics fabrics here, where you can actually order one that is customized to your constellation. This is a development I did with Novacentrics. They make these printable inks. And one of the applications that we can do is to directly print on fabric and put electronics onto these fabrics. So we made these 12 constellations that is arranged in the configuration as the sky. And I'm actually wearing this constellation shirt here. It has my hand-painted star signs, and you can order this to be your own constellation. So that's another offer we give on the Kickstarter. And of course, we have a dress version that is light up. This is kind of our classic design. So we're offering this as a reward.
I love that.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Are you gonna Are you gonna say the pockets?
I was gonna say I love that dress in general. My wife would love that it has pockets. It's huge, huge deal that it has pockets. But I love that dress in. Yeah, no, but I love that dress. I think that's probably one of my favorites that you have. I mean, personally, just because I love constellations. So like I love going out into, open skies at night and watching all the stars. So you have all that stuff on there.
Yeah, me too. I'm always inspired by the sky. When I was a kid, I always observed the sky. I love constellations. So on here is not just the 12 constellation. We also have other astronomical ones. But then people are associated with the 12. So we made those available.
Normalized pockets.
Yeah, I would love to see what constellations people order.
Yeah.
We have all 12 here.
Cool. Very cool. So I mean, I want to give a call to action here. Unless you have some more stuff to share on the page. Are there still more going on here?
I would just let people go through this themselves.
Okay.
A lot of information on here and see what reward is the best for you.
Very cool. Very cool. And so call to action here for everyone. Go check out Kitty's page. I mean, this is awesome. This is some really cool stuff. And I mean, this is, in my opinion, I feel like this is kind of paving the way to really, I think, a brighter future in tech and design, right? Tech and fashion design. There's not a lot of people doing this kind of stuff out there. And, 10 years down the line, this is the kind of stuff that I think we'll look back on and say, this paved the way to these amazing creations. And I hope, Kitty, you're still designing 10 years from now and doing all sorts of this cool stuff.
Need your support and help us go on.
Of course. This is awesome. So Kitty, call to action, everyone. Go check out the Kickstarter, and we're going to talk about it again. We're going to do a recap at the end of the show one more time. But I want to talk to you more about you and some of this cool stuff, because I have some topics here. We have applied physics, right? Like, I mean, when I think about myself, right? Like, I studied engineering, but I was talking to you earlier about this. I had kind of a good relationship with mathematics. I got into calculus, but it wasn't until I got to physics, and more specifically mechanical physics. My engineering took me all the way to quantum and theoretical and all that stuff. But mechanical physics was what made me just love engineering and made me choose my career in engineering. I said, calculus applied in real world situations, awesome. My question to you is, what are some of the most interesting things that you've done while practicing or researching in this field?
Yeah, so many things. I can just talk about every research I have done, but I think we don't have a lot of time. I think the most inspiring thing about physics is that it gives you an idea of how our world functions. I chose physics because it's the study of nature, and nature itself is beautiful. And as you can see, I love a lot of natural things and beautiful sceneries. All these things are my favorite. And physics gives you a tool to understand it, to study those. So I was drawn to physics when I was already in middle school. I decided to become a physicist. And all the way I picked all the physics courses and did everything from what you mentioned, mechanics to electronics to photonics and quantum and relativity. And it's just so inspiring when you study all these similarly. Maybe when you're on a track, they put you to specifically study these topics. But then after a while, you realize the connections between all of these seemingly different ideas and phenomena. They're all connected, all related. So it gave me a way of understanding our world and see the connections between things that are not necessarily mainstream together. So I guess that's also how they inspire me to do art with physics-inspired, science-inspired themes, and vice versa, where when doing art is really inspiring me to apply those creative thinking into doing science.
I think that's an awesome answer. Taking in nature and everything into account. That's awesome. So looking at, or another question here, this is still on the physics topic, Big Bang Theory. I don't want to throw it out there, but I love that show. I saw you had a picture of yourself with, I think it's a wax version of Sheldon. What are some, you watch Big Bang Theory, you see these physicists play with all these really cool lab equipment, right? They have lasers and all these things that are measuring stuff. Are there any cool machines that you've worked with in your past or that you've done? What's the coolest machine that the average person never gets to even see?
Yeah, I wouldn't call any one of the coolest. They're all very cool. But that's a really good question. So the funny thing was when I started professionally doing research, that was when I was in Cambridge as an undergrad. I volunteered to study in Cambridge Cavendish lab, and it was the quantum matters group that I joined. We were making really cold fridges, so cooling things down to almost 0 Kelvin. You need that low temperature to achieve quantum phenomena, to even observe any quantum phenomena that's in your materials. So we were actually making the fridges and building parts. And actually back then I didn't have a concept of being a maker, but we were really makers. We were making things that didn't really exist in the world. And we were doing things that no one had done before. So we had to go to the machine shop and craft all those parts and put them together and do the design and everything. So turned out those fridges are called dilution refrigerators. Turned out they got so popular recently. Why? Because that's what you need for certain types of quantum computers. So now you see a lot of marketing images from very big companies. We have these layers of electronics. It's all golden, very beautiful, looking like a chandelier. That's a dilution refrigerator. And I would never thought that the things that I worked when I started my career would become something kind of popular. So that was super cool. But also there are things like working in the clean room, making the chip structure. So every single electronic board, you find the central control, the microcontroller. If you open it up, you find finer and finer structures. So I was actually making those nanometer size and micron size structures on chips and designing the electronics components, and went to the clean room and fabricated those myself. So that was a super cool experience too. You have to all get wrapped up in a bunny suit and cover yourself up, and then work on things like sputtering machines or e-beam lithography, photolithography machines. So I think I really enjoyed thinking about it, but I don't want to go back to the clean room to fabricate those because it's really hard work, and you're actually literally in that kind of environment the whole day making your super tiny structures. I prefer doing design and doing creative work. But if I get a chance to ever go back to the clean room, I would try again.
Cool. And I mean, I think for the last topic here, I mean, I want to say I could use one of those what is it? Diffusion freezers?
Dilution refrigerators.
Dilution refrigerators, for my weekend beers.
That's an overkill.
Overkill.
The beer would not only be freezing, you may even observe some quantum effect if you have the right measuring tools.
I'm sure someone's tested it. I mean, in Big Bang Theory, they use a laser to heat up a cup of noodles, right? So, so you have taking into account all these other cool things that you do. You are an artist, you are a physicist, and so you made a quantum computing comic book. And I think that this is just super cool. Could you tell us a little bit about this comic book?
Yeah, this is a demonstration of what I mentioned, combining science and art. So this is a project that I started last year. Every Sunday, I was drawing some new comics to explain quantum computing and how it works. So gradually, I was able to accumulate a whole book of materials, and then I published it. I was also teaching at Hackaday U, the quantum concepts. So you can actually find it on Amazon now, the quantum computing and some physics.
You didn't add this as a reward for the Kickstarter? This isn't one of the rewards? You just
That's actually a good idea.
yeah.
I should have used this as to drive a Kickstarter in the first place.
Maybe you could still add it in. I think it's a pretty cool reward. Otherwise, I'm going to go have to check that out on Amazon. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Now, I want to bring this back over to the fashion and tech side of things. I asked this question to Stephanie last week. We sent her on a time machine into the past. For you, we're going to send you on a time machine into the future. And my question is, if you had a time machine and you could travel into the future to a time when technology far exceeds what's available today, what fashionable creation would you design or make with this future tech?
Wow, it's a perfect question for me. I actually have been making a lifelong project, which is a graphic novel that talks about a scientist traveling to the future on a UFO, which came from the future that belonged to her cologne from the future. So it's a pretty complicated setup. But the cool tech fashion in there was, I designed it when I was a little kid, was something that you will wear in space, but it's a very comfortable spacesuit that is very thin and is formable on your body. Is actually got air conditioning in there. So you can breathe. You wear the helmet and is directly connected to your suit, and it's got fresh air in there, but it adjusts the temperatures to make it very comfortable, so you don't actually feel like you're wearing spacesuit.
Oh, nice.
So
very
I can
cool.
show you a visual if you like.
Yes, please. It's funny. It kind of reminds me of a little bit about something I never got into this, but I did design something. I used to really like having my back rubbed by my mom, right? When I was younger, she'd scratch my back or something. And I always thought about gosh, it would just be cool if I could just have my back rubbed all day, every day. And so I designed, these little machines that would attach to my, my shoulders, or a backpack type thing. When I was a kid, it's just a little pulley with an arm that would either way, that would probably be my future invention.
The internet is a little slow. I'm gonna show you the bigger pictures here. So they actually look a little bit like armors. I was inspired by the ancient medieval armors and made those into part of the design.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's a little slow pulling up the images. So I will let people look it up themselves. It's on my website.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be providing your website in the description. Oh, there you go. There it is. Nice.
Yeah, that's the back. Yeah.
So there's a question in the chat here from iShotJR. I think it's a good question because now I am starting to realize how much I want some of this stuff. And his question is, will you ever design for men, Kitty? I feel like I'm missing out on all the fun.
It's a good question. A lot of men ask me that. So my brand is made by women for women because I think there's not enough intellectual representation of women, and there's not enough tech product and devices made for women. Just think about it, right? So I want to prioritize to this audience, but definitely I would. So maybe this can be worn by men. Oftentimes I see men understanding this, and then they will buy this for their loved ones, which I really appreciate. So I would love to prioritize this audience where we understand the pain point for women, and we want to drive the proper intellectual representation, a brand that is made for women in tech. So maybe later we'll have some matching designs for men. So I will welcome ideas, what type of technologies you will want to see in your clothes.
I think that's a great answer. And I think that's a great, I want to say initiative or great, purpose behind your branding and the things that you build. So I definitely respect that. Though I am jealous because I want some stuff. I can see
custom made.
I could see myself wearing one of those brooches. They're pretty cool. So I think that's pretty unisex. I like that brooch. I could wear that. Cool.
If the campaign runs successfully, it will help us scale, and then we'll be able to then create more designs and expand.
I'm going over there right after this call. Trust me. As long as I don't have another meeting after this, but I'm going there right after the call. So I have some more questions about the tech fashion stuff. Maybe I could bring one of these up. So you've built all these cool things. You have a bunch of cool stuff you showed us. It's on your Kickstarter page. I'm sure you have a lot of other stuff you're working on. Is there like a favorite that you have? And is there also like one that was just the biggest pain in the butt that you had to build, the one that was the most difficult to implement? Could you maybe share those, a favorite and then your most difficult?
Yeah, it's very hard to say which one's my favorite because I always like the newest one that I built because it's always my latest idea. I would even say that my favorite is the fact that I converted those handmade prototypes into products. Because creating one is very simple. I can come up with the idea in the morning and I will make it in the afternoon and done. And do a demo and show off the images and everything. But making those reproducible, manufacturable was such a long journey. And I really enjoyed the whole process. I learned so much about how to make a creative idea into manufacturable form. So I would actually really say that the ones that I'm launching today are the ones that I'm very proud of because it's a few years of work building the brand. Technically, I've done a lot of things that are not yet manufacturable. So on my website, I can also put it up here. Like one of the things I showed at ARM Innovator was this machine learning gown. That's actually a gown from my college in Cambridge, in Gauntlet and Keys. So we have a tradition of reading grades before formal hall. Ginger there. That's actually last time we were in ARM. So we were, we have this tradition of reading grades before eating, and then it's all in Latin. And Latin is very difficult. No one really speaks it anymore. So I kind of wanted a way to tell me, let something tell me if I'm pronouncing it right. So think about if you can train this. I use the MX chip IoT dev board. That's the Archer-based edge and IoT device. You can train it to recognize sound and words. So if you can train it to memorize the correct pronunciation of the Latin here, and it lights up when you read it correctly, that would be super cool. So the hard part was not doing the actual coding and building the garments. I also have a colleague who came up with this training model that right now it can detect the English words that's pre-trained. The difficult part was to get the training data. So because not many people read Latin, and I even asked my college to send this to the students and have them maybe record something and get everyone's voice uploaded. But that wasn't quite successful. That was, I guess, very new for the students too. So I didn't get enough training data, but it can recognize English right now.
I feel like this was a couple of years ago. I remember seeing you wear this at a conference a few years ago. And I mean, it's amazing, but even in the last 3 years, that type of technology has changed quite a bit. I mean, you could probably put the same stuff now on a much smaller, much more compute intensive device.
Yeah, that's right. I was hoping maybe I can use the Pickle to do something that's more powerful.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Smaller. Yeah.
So Kitty, thank you for sharing all that. I do want to get back to this last little section here, and I just called it the other cool stuff to talk about section. So on your website at the very top, because we have about 8 minutes left. We'll close out with some of these. On the website, on the very top, you have this statement. It says Renaissance woman in the 21st century. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Renaissance period, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kitty, 15th century?
You should have done your research.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 15th century, right around that period, 15th, 16th century. Lot of really cool stuff. One of my favorite periods, like when I watch movies, you watch like A Knight's Tale and all these movies that kind of take place around that period. Those tend to be my favorite types of movies. So Kitty, I'm kind of wondering, interpret this for us. Break down this phrase. What is a 21st century Renaissance woman, and why does that resonate with you?
Yeah, so it's a phrase that is describing people who do a lot of different things, especially science, art, music, and perhaps sports, but I'm not very good at sports. But I really love that period as well, especially the art. I love going to museums and just figuring out how people painted back then. And it resonates with me. I think first people started calling me that because I was doing a lot of music, art, and physics and technology. So through my work, you can see this love of all these areas coming together. So I thought that was a pretty good phrase to describe me. And I think the most important aspect of it is the pursuit of intellectual value. So that's been driving me to do a lot of my work, is to really understand the intellectual value, how those things are staying throughout history. The true value will be passed down history. So I'm doing a lot of different things, and I, at the same time, wanting to contribute to the society. So from many aspects, this phrase really resonates with me. So
I love it. I think it's awesome. And I like the intellectual contribution aspect of it too. So that's really cool. I have two more questions here, and then we will unfortunately wave goodbye. But if you go to Kitty's website, you'll see that she has a small section there on cosplay. This is more of a personal question from me, because I really enjoy gaming, right? So for those of you who do know me, I'm a big gamer. I go to gaming conventions, and the games that I play usually involve like armor, some form of armor, World of Warcraft, stuff like that, Overwatch. People are wearing armor. They have these crazy cool things that they come up with when you go to these conventions and cosplay. If you go check out Kitty's stuff, she does some amazing cosplay. I'm wondering though, Kitty, I haven't seen any weapons or armor. And so, the difference between, I think the regular cosplay, I think, or the stuff that you're doing is like cloth and very cool stuff. When you go into the armor, you start bringing in foam and all these other different types of building materials. Could you tell us a little bit more about why haven't you done weapons and armor, or does this interest you at all? Do you plan on doing any? Can I commission a piece for my next gaming convention?
Yeah, I would love to hear your ideas. I don't think I'm a professional cosplayer. I love certain comics and anime, and I sometimes dress up. I only do it once per year. It became like a tradition. For some reason, I just dress up like that person. I haven't done those heavy metal type of work. I would love to try those. I've seen so many amazing cosplayers, those just incredible skills. So I would love to try those. My creativity has more been creating something new and not exactly copying and following something. So I guess in terms of armor, that drawing that I had for my future scientist that's wearing this air-conditioned suits might be the first armor that I might build. Yeah. So if you look at my website here, a lot of my designs are, a lot of my cosplays are not exactly following. I like to tweak it a little bit. I like to maybe wear something that's similar, but it's not exactly as shown. So like here I have a photo with Einstein's legs. This is I'm wearing a glove that doesn't have fingers because I like to tweak. It looks similar. It has the kind of same vibe, but it's not exactly. So that's kind of my style.
I have a little sister. I mean, granted, I really enjoyed it too, but I think there was like a period of time before school every day that we would watch Sailor Moon. That's a good anime. So I Shot JR brings up this question. I want to volunteer a couple options myself, but if you could recommend an anime for him to watch next.
I don't know. I haven't watched anime for so long.
No time, No time, I Shot JR. There's no time for anime nowadays. What are you talking about?
It's not childhood now.
Yeah. I'll tell you a couple for me. First of all, if you haven't already seen Full Metal Alchemist, either of them, Brotherhood and not the original, but the first making of it, and Trigun, Outlaw Star, Hellsing. Gosh, I could keep going. But yeah, get those on your list first. So yeah, there we go. Last question I have for you, and then we'll close this out with a final recap of your Kickstarter campaign. Music and art. Okay, so like it's so rare to have someone who is just kind of so talented in all these different areas, and yet you still kind of can bring it all up to the physics behind it. And you're applying all of these talents to, I think, uniting them and bringing them all together for something I think that's really great. So tell me a little bit, how do these talents tie in together for the things that you do? Taking your art, taking your music, and then the physics background, everything. How does it all tie in for the things that you do in your daily career?
Thank you. I'm still improving. I'm always trying to get better in all of these areas. I think my main drive is always science and physics in particular. I pick that is intellectually very difficult, and I wanted to pursue the best education in it. But I love art and music so much, I will continue to do those on the side. Especially in music, I think now I'm doing fashion, which is a combination of technology and painting and design. So that's actually a perfect marriage for all of these things, and fashion becomes a platform to do those. But before, I never thought that I could do those. And also, without the open source hardware, I don't think I will be able to do those. So it's also with the improvement of technology that we can do better and better and more creative things that hopefully can contribute back to the society in a positive way. So when I was making my choice, when I was deciding to do physics, I thought that if I pursue art and music, maybe I won't be able to do science full-time professionally. But if I do science, I may be able to still do those. So it kind of worked out for me. It may be different for other people. I have heard stories the other way around, which is also very cool. So
I like that. I mean, gosh, it's really a double-edged sword there. I always say to people, follow your passion, right? Follow your passion, do what makes you happy. Yes. I think that's first and foremost the most important thing. But if your passion requires, I don't know, money or, I want to say like a more stable situation, gosh, I want to say at least, get your security first. Maslow's law, get your security, and then you can build on top of that whatever you want, whether that is a career or some invention that you have that you want to throw out there, whatever. But yeah, cool.
I think the best thing is that's what you are doing to perhaps make money is also what you really love.
That's the goal in life, right? Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Kitty, it's the top of the hour here. I want to give one last shout out to your Kickstarter page. So let's bring that up. Are you on your Kickstarter page there by chance, Kitty? So we can bring your screen up one more time.
Sure. Thank you.
There you go. So Kitty's Kickstarter page, make sure you go check this out. I know the link is long here, but we will put it in the description as well. Go contribute, have some fun with some of the cool stuff. It's not if, it's when you will get funded. When you get funded and all this cool stuff gets sent out, make sure that you tag Kitty. Her handle is right there in her banner on her portrait there. So lots of fun having you, Kitty. Thank you so much for your time. Pleasure. Do you have any last things you'd like to say?
Thank you so much for having me here. It's been always great to meet people through the ARM Innovator program, and really lovely seeing people interacting. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, then we're going to close this out. I look forward to, first of all, once again, Kitty, thank you. And I look forward to seeing everyone here next week, 5 p.m. UTC. We'll have another exciting episode with another exciting guest to share our weekly innovation coffee with you all. So wave goodbye to you one last time, Kitty. And thank you everyone watching for your time. Have a nice rest of your week.
Thank you. Bye.